अन्यदेव तद्विदितादथो अविदितादधि इति शुश्रुम पूर्वेषां येनस्तद्व्याचचक्षिरे अन्यदेव तद्विदितादथो अविदितादधि इति शुश्रुम पूर्वेषां येनस्तद्व्याचचक्षिरे. That indeed is distinct than viditat, known, aviditat, also beyond the unknown. Anya eva tat, that is other than, anyat is other than, that is other than, distinct than, aviditat, unknown, viditat, known. Iti shushruma purvesham yenastadvyachachakshire. Vyachachakshire means thus it has been expounded to us. Who? Purvesham. Who is the Purvesham? The Purvesham, if you ask me, sir, where have you learned this wonderful Shastras? I would say, I've learned from my Guru. Then you ask, you go to the Guru and ask, where did you learn from? He would say, I've learned from my Gurus. You go to them and ask, where did you learn? He would say, I have learned from our Gurus. So it's understandable. We all say we all learn from the Gurus. There is a lineage. There is a Guru Shishya Parampara. There is a tradition, isn't it? Now, the Vedas are the very source of this Vedantic wisdom. The Upanishads are the very source. It's like the river that's flowing has a source. Up in the mountains, it trickles, and it forms small rivulets and streams, and then it flows down into the plains and has a torrential flow of the river. So it all has a source. So we consider the Vedas are the very source of all this knowledge. And when you go to the Vedic masters, what do they say? Thus have we heard from the Gurus. So they are also referring to their Gurus. What comes up front to the mind is there is no arrogance at all. There is no arrogance to the extent they didn't bother to do a copyright of it also. Having said that, at 11 o'clock, we have a meeting on copyright. We have a meeting with the concerned department. The team here has been working on preparing all the things. Amitama, 11 o'clock meeting is there. Now, after talking of Upanishad, how can I do copyright of what little work we have? The greatest of gurus didn't have any copyright, no patenting, no nothing, no damn thing. They just spoke the truth. You guys take it and own it and make it your own. And here we are trying to preserve it and protect it and claim it. No ahankar, no ownership, no possessiveness. They just attribute it to the Gurus. So utter humility. Thus have we heard. In the Gita, they use the word prahu. Prahu refers to the lineage. And it is so, it is so important to understand if anything has stood the test of time, it has to have something that preserve this culture, isn't it? Other day I was looking at a documentary. I don't know where, I scribbled it somewhere. Other day there was a documentary I was watching of how in Britain, how they have been making the traditional piano, how the pianos are made, and the traditional way of making a piano, and how much it costs to get a traditional piano vis-a-vis the modern machinery which makes. And that culture of piano started in 1700 in Italy. First piano started in 1700, and then came the centuries later Decades later, there was a huge demand. And then the documentary said there were hundreds of such people who were in Britain alone, hundreds of such people who prepared by hand. And it was a decorative symbol. It was something which you would found in every home in Europe and in that part of the world. It was every home had it. And then it all came down to one family now, one family trying to retain this culture. Only one family in Britain. Everyone has died, and they are struggling how this knowledge of hand making piano can carry on beyond their generation. It was interesting. I think there's a term. I think what I scribbled that is called Cavendish. Has any one of you heard of this? Arpitji? Cavendish? Hariji? You seem to be nodding the head. Sir, you need to unmute yourself, please.
It's like the gold standard in piano, the Cavendish.
Cavendish, right? I'm wrong. So, is it a type of pianos, isn't it?
Yes, it's like what in violin you have the Stradivarius, or in every thing you have these very well-known, let's say, makes, and they have their unique characteristics.
Right. So
Cavendish.
So Cavendish, yeah. So I'm not wrong. It's interesting. And there was another program I watched about how they make the paint brushes, and it is only got from a particular fur of a, what is that, Rajima?
Guruji, I think it is from the horse. It's a sable.
Not a horse. It's not a horse. It is some particular small creature which they don't kill it, and they only get it from its fur, and it is protected because those are endangered little creatures, and a single brush can cost you, or paintbrush can cost you over 2,000 pounds. And the kind of art that goes in just to make that paintbrush, again started. So, and they are struggling to just retain that parampara, the tradition. Why I'm trying to talk of is anything that has something which is proven, like the piano, the Cavendish, or it could be the paintbrushes. They say that's the mother of all brushes. It is the most, you find many companies manufacturing synthetic brushes, but this is a natural brush. It takes over 30 years to perfect that art of making, to perfect that brush. You got that? What was that, Ma?
It's the fur of a weasel, Guruji. I just
You're
checked.
right. It's the fur of a weasel. You're right.
But it is called sable, Guruji. Sable brushes.
Sable. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. I thought you said horses.
I thought it was sable horses. It's sable brushes.
Sable brushes. You're right. Yeah. Again, this is made in Britain. So what I'm trying to say is, it is just so difficult to maintain that knowledge to be transmitted. We do not know when these Vedas were given, and it is not taught by appointment. Yet somehow this great tradition, this knowledge has been transmitted for generations and generations and generations. I guarantee your grandchildren will have it. And there's nobody for me to guarantee it. This knowledge will not die. You and I will go by, but this knowledge, therefore this knowledge is known as Sanatana Dharma. These are the eternal principles which have stood the test of time, which will stand the test of time. It will not die. Everything will come and go, but not this knowledge. It is so grand even to think in those lines. How is it that it has been preserved? Thanks to this tradition. And we are just grateful that the very Vedic gurus themselves honored this tradition of the Guru Shishya Parampara. So we need to bow down. The very famous Tyagaraja Kirtana, Endaro Mahanubhavulu, Andarikina Vandanamulu, to all those great sung, unsung, unknown sages and saints and those heroes who have upholded this dharma, this tradition, who have made it their own and passed it on, without which we wouldn't have access to knowledge. I bow down. That is what the sentiment, the feeling, the second half of the verse. The entire philosophy of the Upanishad is in the first line, just one line. Anyat eva viditadato aviditadadhi. Now this verse gives you the perhaps the closest description of God. And the closest description of God, he says, it is other than the known, other than the unknown. That's all. Seemingly innocuous words. In that innocuous statement, he's captured the highest truth. It's quite a thing to say it is the quintessential statement of the Upanishad itself, of the text itself, which it is other than the known and the unknown. Wow. I thought it's going to be a very super duper statement. It's seemingly innocuous statement. So much power packed message. This statement can be interpreted in three interpretations. The first interpretation, now before we go on to the three broad interpretations, as I've said, let's understand, in fact, keeping the first interpretation in mind, the first interpretation in mind is from a macrocosmic perspective. From a macrocosmic perspective, this is the subtlest philosophical thought. It relates to the macrocosm, the subtlest concept. And then comes a scholarly explanation, and then comes a practical explanation. So the three standpoints to this understanding that is beyond the known and unknown. To this statement, that is beyond the known and unknown, three interpretations. First is the philosophical, second is a scholarly, third is a practical. All right. Now, if you just can you visualize this, a student going up to a master in the Vedic times with an eager desire to know what God is, and having made himself worthy of receiving the advice or the knowledge from the Guru, the student asks this question with great fervor, wanting to know, may I know what is God? How do I recognize him? Where do I find God? The simple, straightforward answer the master gave was, whatever you see is God. And he kept quiet. No further help given by the Guru. The student asked the Guru, what is God? He said, whatever you see is God. And the student had to go and ponder and explore the truth and find out what that truth is. What is that God? What do I see? He started describing and trying to conclude based on his perceptions as to what God is, because what he sees is the perceivable world. So what is perceivable world? What is the nature of the world? He's just going by the direction given by the Guru. Whatever you see is God. Now the question is, what he saw was the world. My question is, what is the nature of the world? Ushama, Suresh. Sorry, UK. UK and US. This is better titling. UK is Usha Kondiniyama, US is Usha Suresh. No, don't go by the location, but this is the short form. So in the US.
World are the opposites. You see the opposites, unchangeable.
Huh?
It's a fluctuation, dwandwas.
When the student perceived the world, what did he perceive the world as?
Pairs of opposites.
Which is what? Please enlighten what you say. What is pairs of opposites?
We see the heat, hot and cold, all the emotions changing.
You are not far from it, but you need to expand a little further. What is the nature of the world? All right, Ushama, no problem. US. Harish, when you look at the world, what is the nature of the world?
Hari Om Guruji. From my understanding, the nature of the world is how we see it based on our experiences. It's from our inner reflections.
Harish, the context of the question is, a student goes to this Upanishadic master and asks, what is God? And he is trying to help the student from where he is. He says, whatever you see is God. So when he analyzed the world, what was his conclusion of the world? What is its nature? It is not different to what you and I should perceive of the world, but just keep that context in mind. What is the world? All right. Give it a thought. Lakshmi Ma.
Different identities, pluralistic diversity, not as one, but as different aspects.
Not as one, different aspects. Okay. This is not what I'm looking at, but you're not wrong. Your description of the world is not wrong. Like what US said also is not wrong. But in the context of it, when they looked at the world and examined, they found the nature of the world to be ephemeral. Everything around them was subjected to change. Everything is perishing. Everything is passing. Everything is fleeting around them. There seems to be a birth and death to everything, isn't it? It didn't have a longevity. They found the world as temporal, transient. So what would be the next conclusion after that, Arpitji? Going by what he concluded, the student concluded, what would be his conclusion of God?
I guess it would be the mirror image of that, which is, if this is all fleeting, then there has to be something that's permanent and substantial.
No. Don't think ahead of the student here.
Okay.
The Guru has set the student, whatever you see is God. What the student saw is the world, and the nature of the world was impermanent, changing, ephemeral. So let's put these three words: impermanent, changing, ephemeral. Now, this is his concept of God. Now, what he would have concluded, that this is the nature of God, is it not?
Oh, okay, yeah.
He is unknown. He's just going by the direction or the help he got by the Guru. Whatever you see is God. So his concept of the world is, what are the three things we said?
Impermanent,
Impermanent,
fleeting, ephemeral,
ephemeral.
fleeting.
What are the three words? I didn't use the word fleeting. What is Gayatri Ma? What are the three words?
It is ephemeral, changing, and impermanent.
Right. It doesn't matter, but these are the three words we can just try to use it. So what he would have done is he went back to the Guru, just wanting to get it clarified. Is this what you said, Master? Because my understanding of the world is ephemeral, changing, impermanent. When he went back to the master clarifying, he only told the student, what you are perceiving is perishable, is kshara, is perishable. This is matter, man. But the God is the imperishable in the perishable. There is an imperishable element, the substratum, which supports the perishable matter. That is God. Oh my God. This gave a new dimension to the Guru to go and explore and expand and come to that understanding. What is that which is the imperishable, which is the substratum of the perishable? Wow, that is God. It is the akshara in the kshara. Kshara is perishable, akshara is imperishable. So he pondered and pondered and pondered and came to an understanding, and he went back to the master and said, what is it he would have said, Amitama? Remember, you are not Amitama, you are an Upanishadic student. Huh? So having reflected, what would you have said to the master? Could you please unmute yourself? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, sir, your question is now, as a student, going back to the Guru, and the Guru now has said that the God is the imperishable in the perishable, the substratum. You are asking now, what is the student's comment, is it?
What is the Guru's comment after the student goes back to the teacher and clarifies that he has understood what God, because the Guru has said the God is the imperishable substratum of the perishable matter.
Mm-hmm.
When the student goes back to this, to the Guru, what would the Guru have said to that student?
That you've got to learn how to be able to see that. The journey now is going to be about being able to perceive that, the imperishable.
He has understood it. It took 6 months for him to understand. He reflected, he contemplated, and he went back to the Guru saying, I understand, now I got what God is. I understand God is the changeless in the change. It is the imperishable in the perishable. It is the eternal in the ephemeral. He got it. He clinched it. He wanted to go back to the Guru and assure the teacher, oh Lord, I've got what you said. Am I right? Now the question is what the teacher could have said.
No.
I'm creating a drama out of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think
you get the sentiment of the potency of these words. Otherwise, I can easily explain it and then go through. You will not know what to punch in it.
Yeah.
What would the teacher said? Yes, Amitama.
Well, the teacher would have said that no, you haven't got it yet, because it is what you are thinking is God is also not that. It is beyond the known and also beyond the unknown.
This is what the Guru would have said. Anyadeva tat vidita dato avidita dadhi. This is what the teacher would have hammered to the student and said. It is not what you think
It is.
you have got it. It is beyond it. It is beyond it. Now, just to be very clear, Shantima, can you tell me, in the terms of known and unknown, what is it that is known to the student and to you and me?
World is known.
Correct. You and the Upanishadic student and all of us know the world which is known. Now tell me, what is it is unknown
Unknown is God. That's something we're trying to find. So,
No. From the explanation so far, what is unknown?
imperishable.
The imperishable, which is that enlivening principle which enlivens matter, isn't it? The
Yeah.
imperishable can also be understood as the enlivening principle which enlivens the dead matter, which is unknown. So the unknown is the enlivening principle, the imperishable in the perishable, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is known is the world. What is unknown is that which supports the world, the imperishable in the perishable. And when the student thought he understood what God, the Guru said, it is beyond that. It is beyond the known and beyond the unknown. Now, how do you understand this? Hariji, what are you got to say? Don't teach anything beyond what is taught, because I am very carefully choosing the words what to say. So don't go ahead of the Guru.
Anything known is an object, and God is not an object.
Then is God, what is God then?
God is the knowing principle.
That was said in the previous verse, yeah. So the previous verse, we use the concept of God is not an object of perception, emotion, thought. It is a subject which enlivens perception, feeling, and comprehension, isn't it? That was said in the third verse. This verse, he is not saying as an object and subject. He is saying the known and unknown. Am I right? There is a distinct difference in the language he's using.
Yeah, you can know anything only through your limited equipment. That is body, mind, and intellect. This is something beyond. It is incomprehensible. You can only become.
Correct. But we already established that. All right.
Okay.
Isn't it? Now, I'm trying to slowly build a thought. Please bear with me. Slowly build a thought so that you understand the depth of it. You know? What I said, the known is the perishable world. Now, what is your concept of the world? How do you define the world? The world is not your home, your business, your colleagues, your family. World is what? It is an entire perishable matter. The planets, the galaxy, the Milky Way, all that you put into that concept of the world which is perishable. The planet which has existed for eons, they also will die at some time, isn't it? This planet system also will perish someday. It's perishable. It's not imperishable, it's perishable. So the concept of the world is, it is that huge bubble, whatever that bubble of yours expanded to the largest possible imagination of what science talks of, that unknown Milky Ways, all that is the perishable world. This is perishable, this is changing, this is impermanent. Then there is a imperishable substratum which supports this perishable. Now, when you say God is that which supports the perishable matter and limited there, you are limiting God to the pervasiveness of the perishable matter. And that is the flaw in that conclusion. This is what the Guru is trying to give a lift to our understanding of God. Are you all with me? Your concept of God, if you say it is a imperishable in the perishable, you are limiting God to the pervasiveness of the perishable world. isn't it? To the boundaries of the perishable world. So if it is the imperishable in the perishable, you're limiting it to the boundary. It becomes an intellectual concept. Therefore, the Guru had told the student, it is not an intellectual concept, man. God is beyond it. It is beyond the known, which is perishable, beyond the unknown. It is the enlivening principle. You can't limit God just to the pervasiveness of matter. It is beyond it. So God is not an intellectual concept. It is other than it. It is beyond the known, beyond the unknown. The same concept is actually, I'll give 3 examples to explain it. Please don't conclude. To cement the understanding, I'll give 3 examples. A similar concept is explained in the 15th chapter of the Gita, where he uses the word kshara. Hariji, if you can capture this for us. Kshara, K-S-H-A-R-A. Kshara is perishable. Akshara, imperishable. And then he used the word Uttama Purusha. Uttama Purusha is the supreme being. Uttama Purushastvanya, he says. In the 16th and 17th verse of the 15th chapter, this is the only chapter in the Gita which is equivalent to an Upanishad. Because it has got only 20 verses, if I'm not wrong. The 15th chapter of the Gita has got 20 verses, which is equivalent to any Upanishad. That's the most potent chapter in the Gita. Of 18 chapters, 15th chapter. And in that 15th chapter, verses 16 and 17 talk of it. Dvavimau purushau loke ksharashchakshara evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastho kshara uchyate uttama purushastvanya paramatmetyudhyahutah yo lokatrayamavishya bibartyavyaya ishwarah. Fall back on these verses. So kshara is perishable, akshara is imperishable, uttama purusha is supreme being. So God is beyond the known, which is the perishable, beyond the unknown, which is the imperishable. It is beyond it. It is beyond known, beyond unknown. It is beyond it. Now, 3 examples. Now, the first example, let's say you go to sleep tonight and you go through a dream. You have a certain experience. You have a certain dream. Now, is the dream permanent? Sitaramji, the dream you had, the dream you will have, is it permanent?
Absolutely not. The moment you wake up, the dream goes.
The moment you wake up, the dream goes. So the dream is perishable. Now, what is it that supports the dream?
The dreamer.
Please think, sir. What is it
the
that supports the dream?
The fact that he goes to sleep supports the dream. I mean, you have to fall asleep to be able to dream. And the experiences that you had during the course of whatever. So your mind supports the dream.
Whose mind?
The dreamer's mind.
All right. Okay. I will have to leave it at that and follow the conversation further, sir. I don't think that's the right thought. Reddy Garu, you go to sleep tonight, you have a dream. As you would agree, the dream is perishable. It is not permanent. Now, my question is, what is that which supports the dream, which is the imperishable? Huh? We're trying to understand the imperishable. What is it that supports the dream?
Atman. Sorry, Guruji.
I really wish this was a physical class, you know. Then I can seriously take punishment. I can impose punishments also.
You would have been beaten me.
Yeah. I want a lot of frustration. I don't know where to let go, you know. So much frustration is building up in me. What is that which supports the dream? Balaji. Irka. Enga pa Balaji ni? On pandu camera. Is Balaji there?
Yes, sir.
என்ன சார் ஆன் பண்ணலன்னா எப்படி தெரியும் நீங்க இருக்கா இல்லையா? See, the moment I call Balaji, Tirupati will appear. Tirupati on panna, Balaji will appear. Now you see the marriage these both have got into. It's a relationless relationship these people have got.
Okay.
And yet there's a relationship. What is the question, Balaji?
What support the dream?
What is it that supports the dream? What supports the dream?
You can say the imperishable or pure consciousness.
Now Malaysia வந்துட்டு I'm going I'm going to come to Malaysia and give you my piece of my mind. Think careful and answer the question. I'm saying it.
So the permanent support the impermanent, right? I mean, that's why I say.
Don't talk philosophy. Leave that to me. I'm asking question. Example. You go to sleep tonight. Is the dream permanent?
Not permanent.
Not permanent. Very good. Now, what is it that supports the dream? What is the imperishable that supports the perishable dream?
Is it the mind at this context?
Your thinking is right. Can you be specific? So we are using an example to convey three things: perishable, imperishable, that which is beyond it, isn't it?
Yep.
The perishable is the dream. Now, what is the imperishable here? When you say it is the mind, what aspect of the mind?
Subtle mind or
I'm actually very, very conscious in leading you all to this. What is it that supports? In fact, he rightly said it is the mind that supports the dream. Sitaramji, the dream is not okay. Whose mind? You didn't clarify that.
The dreamer's mind.
Dismissed, failed, banned Balaji from attending future classes. Banned, banished, dismissed. I don't know. I don't have any more words to say that. Tirupati, what is it that supports the dream? Rav and all you put. You are giving titles to yourself. Huh? Don't say my parents put the name.
Just to indicate the imperishable, sir.
Amma, periya imperishable. Your destiny will depend on how the answer is now. Balaji's destiny is decided. Your destiny also determined now. What is the imperishable? He said he's perished, he's gone. Amma.
Yeah. Yeah, the dreamer, the waker, and then I think we are talking about the Turiya concept.
Don't think ahead of the Guru.
Okay.
I know you all are Mahagurus, I know that. Answer the question, sir. Three things. Perishable is the dream. Imperishable, he said, is the mind. Now, whose mind is the imperishable?
Waker.
It is the waker's mind that is the imperishable. Now, what aspect of the waker's mind? Just to make sure you as you think on that, Tirupati, when you say, Balaji, put on your camera. Just because we dismiss you doesn't mean you switch it off. Now, what I'm saying, distraction of better switch off. You're on camera, I can't concentrate. Switch off, better that way. I tell you. Thank God. Now I can concentrate. RPG, what was I saying? Only studio student is RPG. Everybody else only playing.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. So we were talking about the waker, the waker's mind, right? The dream Is the answer you're seeking the dream world?
See, the dream world is perishable. Isn't that quite obvious? Because the moment you wake up, it ceases to exist. It's impossible for you to continue a dream which you have woken up from, isn't it?
Right.
It's perishable, it's gone. Now, can you explain, before I come to Tirupati back again, but can you explain how do you say it is the waker's mind that projects the dream? Because Sitaramji and Balaji felt it is the dreamer's mind that projects the dream. Is it the dreamer's mind that projects the dream or the waker's mind?
No, I think it's the waker's mind.
Can you explain on that? How do you say so?
I'm not sure I can explain it. I think it's a projection of the waker's unmanifest or undigested, whatever is left over, desires.
Turn the camera there. Namaskaram. Yes.
Namaskaram.
So what is it that projects the dreamer?
It's waker's unfulfilled desires. Like he saw something that he wants to eat in restaurant or something that he couldn't fulfill, and he wants to finish that unfulfilled desire in the dream. He would do that.
But is it really possible to fulfill desires in the dream?
Not really, but it's just he's dreaming on that.
Correct. It is just a vent, isn't it?
Yes.
It's sort of a pressure release, isn't it?
Right.
But the important thing, the only important statement which will justify that the dream is not a projection of the dreamer's mind. What is that statement which will prove it that it's not the dreamer's mind that projects the dream, it's the waker's mind? Are you able to bring that clarity there?
We do consciousness, okay, self.
I don't know.
Consciousness is beyond even the waking dream and deep sleep. That is way beyond. But we need clarity. How do you say it is the waker's mind and not the dreamer's mind? There's a one statement will seal it. Fair enough. All we have done is we've set the conversation with Milima. That's all. That's important. We all set the ball rolling, set the ball thinking. Now, anybody has an answer to that? What is that statement? Except Hari. I'll come to you, Hariji. Okay. I'll take up Vaidyanathan ji and then I'll come to Keshav Reddy Garu. Just be a little patient, Keshav Reddy Garu. I'll come to you. Vaidyanathan ji.
The dreamer's mind perishes with the end of the dream. Only the waker's mind is left to reflect on the dream, because when you're awake, the dreamer's mind doesn't exist anymore. So it is the waker's mind that reflects on what happened when he was asleep. The dreamer is gone, perished completely.
Beautiful point. Very beautiful point. You've answered it. And if you say it is the dreamer's mind that has projected a dream, there's a creator and the created, isn't it?
Correct.
Then we say the dreamer's mind is the creator, the dreamer is the creator, and the dream world is his creation. No. The dream world, including the dreamer, is a part of the dream. Correct. So when you wake up, the dream world, including the dreamer, ceases to exist. Isn't it?
Correct.
This is the argument you got to give to prove it's not the dreamer's mind, it's the waker's mind that projects the dream. Tirupati, I hope you're thinking. I'm going to come to the answer. Keshav Reddy Garu.
Hariom Guruji.
Yes, sir. Hari Om.
As long as he was dreaming, the dreamer was thinking it is real. The minute he wakes up, he thinks that it is not real. So the only waker can project the dream, but not the dreamer.
Correct. Yes. Very, very valid point, sir. Very valid point. Very good. Now
Right.
going back to Tirupati, yes, sir. Namaskar. What the question was, which aspect of the mind has projected the dream?
Baker's, I thought the answers were given, like it's the Vaker's consciousness, which is all the vasanas and rooted from the vasanas.
If you heard what Arpitji and Milima had said, what did they say that the dream has?
Perishable.
No, dream is perishable, but what did they say dream as? Did they not say dream as a certain expression of unfulfilled desires as a waker? You have been wanting to go and have a good time with the family, a day's outing, and enjoy a meal with the family and just experience that freedom of just going wherever you want. Considering that we are all being locked down and confined to our homes, lost our freedom. So you have dreamt that you have had a lovely outing with the family, you've gone to the park, you've done shopping, you went to a restaurant, you enjoyed a beautiful day out. Where? You had in the dream. Why did you dream? Because there is a desire which is being unfulfilled, isn't it? So your dream is an expression of a pocket of unfulfilled desires. Am I right? All of you, please think along. Dream is nothing but a certain expression of a pocket of certain unfulfilled desires, which are projected as a dream, which is supported by the waker's mind. Now my question is, which part of the waker's mind projects the dream? It is only that small part of the waker's mind. It is not the entire waker's mind. For example, if we want to take a note of what is Tirupati as a waker, what is the knowledge quotient, the vasana quotient of the waker Tirupati, let's say it has 100 units. Because you have 100 vasanas, you have 100 quotient of knowledge. Is the entire waker's mind of Tirupati is there in the dream?
No.
No, isn't it? It's only that 0.5% or 1% of the desire which you are unable to fulfill is expressed as the dream, isn't it? So what is it that supports the dream? 1% of the waker's mind projects the dream. And that 1% of the waker's mind which projects the dream is imperishable. That doesn't die. Because I have said to Milima, if you mark my word, you cannot exhaust your desires in the dream. So the desires are relatively imperishable. They will still remain. You may go through the dream is born, the dream is dead, but the vasanas which supported the dream, they don't die. It is imperishable. It fits in like a jigsaw puzzle. It fits in, every aspect of it fits in. If you mark the words, concepts carefully, the dream is perishable. That section of the mind, or that portion of the mind which has projected the dream is imperishable. And then the 99% of the mind which is beyond that which projects the dream is Uttama Purusha, the supreme being, which is other than the perishable and the imperishable.
It's beautiful.
Are you with me?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Just get the
I
you just
think-
get the wholesome picture, isn't it?
I think in mathematics, usually they use these logic arguments. I think the entire text is using that. It's like a yes, no answers, but it's leading to something. Like first you compare the known and unknown. Whenever the text is saying that it is beyond the unknown, because the world is in dvandvas and we think also digital, we always say if it is beyond known, it must be unknown. Oh, I got the answer. And that's where you get tricked, saying that no, it's also beyond the unknown. So the next logic statement comes in. Then we started to wonder, there's only two things, known and unknown. How come there could be something beyond unknown? So I think then we couldn't comprehend. I think that's where our logic stops.
And Atman is beyond logic and reason, because Atman is not
Yes.
an intellectual concept, isn't it? That is what the whole point he's driving home. It is not something which you can capture in your brilliant head, man. It is beyond it. It's not a concept. It's not an idea you can fathom. Therefore, he says it is anyat. It's other. It is distinct. It's different from what you know, what you know, what you don't know. But
Which he could describe.
huh?
Which he said he cannot describe that.
Which he can.
The
You already
earlier-
confessed beyond describe. Cannot describe it. But it's outstanding. If you go take the first example of the mind, it is amazing, amazing. All right. Are you all with the okay with the first example?
Guruji, just want to I just want to quote something from a Tamil song in Navaratri Malai. They call Lalita Navaratri Malai. They say it's written by Agasthyar, but not sure how far it's true. But there's one verse there towards the end. It says that Katrum Teliyar Kade Gadiyai Kanmudi Nedinganavana Tavam Petrum Teliyar Nilai in Nilavam Pirugum Pilayen Pesatagumu. Those who know Tamil, I think they will know this word. Like Mata Jayavam Lalitam Bige, that long song. So in that, it's also coming back to this same context. They're saying Katrum Teliyar. Even though you learn, those who are learned also cannot understand you. We're referring to the Brahman, Lalitambika is as the Brahman. Katrum Teliyar, Kade Gadiyai, Kanmudi Nedin Ganavana Tavum Petrum Teliyar. That means they go to the forest, meditate, Kade forest, Kanmudi, close your eyes and meditate and trying to know you. They also cannot understand. And I'm just a small boy, a small baby trying to understand the world. How could I describe you? Perugum Pilayen, Perum Pilayen. Sorry, I can make a lot of mistakes in me. I'm just learning. So how can I describe you when I'm just learning and I could make a lot of mistakes? How can I describe you? Perugum Perum Pilayen, Pesat Tagumo. Can I even talk about you? So this beautifully same expression.
Very beautiful. Can you say that whole phrase once again?
I'll just sing it in that tone.
Yeah, please.
Kade Gadiyai Kanmudi Nedunganavana Tavam Petrum Teliyar Nilayin Nilavum Perugum Pilayen Pesatagumo Mada Jayavom Lalitambigaye Mada Jayavom Lalitambigaye Mada Jayavom Lalitambigaye Mada Jayavom Lalitambigaye. I'm getting goosebumps.
Absolutely, we all are. It's so
From Swami Haridas Giri, I heard.
Outstanding. Haridas Giri is out of this world. Out of this world. Maybe we should. I don't know, Harishi. We have collection of Haridas Giri with us bhajans. We should. You don't have? Okay, I'll share his collections to keep it into the archive of songs we have. Outstanding. He takes to a different realm of experience, Haridas Giri. Wonderful, Tirupati. I know. In fact, Tirupati is our lead instrumental in our retreats in Malaysia. He is the mridangam player, tabla player. He is the choreographer. He is artist, musician, singer. This is the broad little of we know of Tirupati. So all of that doesn't come in the dream, does it? Only unfulfilled desire, of not spending time with the family outdoors comes as a dream. But the mridangam player, the musician, the philosopher, the singer, the dramatist, the artist, the comedian, all of this doesn't come, no? And Balaji, the artist, the comedian, the joker, the what else? US, what other title we can give to Tirupati? Yeah, please try now.
A photographer?
Photographer.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, correct. That's the best way of describing. Jack of all, I tell you, you all must, we will have that physical meeting someday. You will literally be holding a stomach. You will, my God, you will be on the floor rolling all over. And Amitama, isn't it? This is how our retreats are in Malaysia. There's less philosophy and more of all this drama that goes on there. But it's a lovely atmosphere. So all of this doesn't come, what I'm trying to say is your entire personality of the waker doesn't express in the dream. Every dream you go through, it doesn't manifest. Only a fraction, a minuscule, a small percent of that appears in the dream. So the dream is perishable. The 1% of that mind which supported that perishable dream is imperishable. The 99% of the mind is Uttama Purusha. It is way beyond that 1% which supported the fragmented, perishable dream. Man, it's gone. The dream is gone. That mind which supported it doesn't die. It is imperishable. The waker's mind is way beyond it. One example. Jayama, I know you wanted to clarify something.
I still didn't get it, Guruji. How that 1% is imperishable.
Now, directly to the point, I said earlier, why it is imperishable is, see what projects the dream. Dream is defined in one angle. Dream is defined as a manifestation or an expression of undigested thoughts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the root is certain unfulfilled thoughts and desires expressed in the dream. Are we right?
Yes.
Now, when you have dreamt, when you have expressed those undigested thoughts, where are the undigested? Whose undigested thoughts are they?
The wakers.
The wakers, correct. Very good. So when the dreamer experiences and when he wakes up, is the waker exhausted those undigested thoughts?
No.
Is it perishable or imperishable?
That to that extent he has exhausted, Guruji, to the extent he has dreamt.
No. If you say so, then that's what I said. Dream world, you cannot evolve spiritually, ma. Why can't you evolve in the dream? Evolution or devolution only happens in the waking state, not in the dream.
Correct.
Why? Why? Answer that. You are saying yes, what without an answer. Why you can't evolve and devolve in the dream?
Because a dream is a non-existent state. It's not a real state.
It doesn't exist for you, but for a dreamer, very much exists. Don't say that. But why can't you evolve in the or devolve in the dream? Hold on. Let me ask Arunama. Arunama, why can't you evolve and devolve in the dream?
I have to think, Guruji.
I thought you all will have ready answers.
I think probably because, I mean, it's just a guess I'm trying to make. I think the dream is only a temporary state. So anything that is temporary, it will not lead you to your evolvement. That's
what makes you believe the waking world is permanent?
Comparatively speaking, yeah. Yeah, comparatively.
No. Ma, if you calculate all the time you have spent in sleep in your whole lifespan, more than 1/3, 40% of your life you spend in dream. That's a substantial amount of time in sleep and deep sleep to be discounted. Just because the world has a little, the waking world has a little edge over the dream world, the waking world is no more real than the dream. Please understand that. We can't use that argument. That's what the Shastras are saying. The waking world is also, they say, is just like another dream. Just because it has a little bit more solidarity than the dream, you can't claim this world to be real. If I come and ask you when you are dreaming about the waking world, I know your waking life, who you are, I know who is Aruna as a waker and the family and where you are, what you are, and you are in the dream. I come and ask you as a dreamer, do you know who Aruna is? I do not know who Aruna is. What are you talking? I'm this. I'm a young college student in this part of the world and I have a background. I do not know anything of Aruna. So that can't be the reason why you can't evolve and devolve in the dream or in sleep. Gayatri Ma, why can't you evolve or devolve in the dream?
Again, my guess, because you're not conscious of that. You're not conscious of that at that moment.
You are there and not there. You almost use the word which could have answered and then you're not spelt it out. Fair enough. You're right. Sedramanji, why can't you evolve and devolve in the dream? Even devolution can't happen in the dream. Forget evolution.
Hari Om Guruji. You evolve or devolve when you evolve when you gain wisdom, when you burn vasanas. So in the dream you don't burn vasanas.
Why is the question? You only rephrase the question for us, sir. But why?
First of all, you are carrying 1% of it.
No, let's talk of 1% only. We're not talking of 10%. The question to Jayama, that 1% of the desires that you are expressing in the dream will not get burnt out in the dream. Therefore, we say the 1% mind which supports it is imperishable relatively. It will not end. The percentage of the quotient of vasanas will not decrease or increase in the waking state. It's not possible that I've indulged in the dream and my waking desire has gone up. It's not possible. It's not that just because I've burnt my vasanas in the dream, my vasanas in the waking state, I'm evolved. As you say, wisdom. It doesn't happen.
There is no action. It is
expand. Correct. Your thinking is right. There is no
action being performed.
There's no action. What is that? One word that will answer it. Rajima, what is that which make sure?
Guruji, the desire can be either burnt through experience or through knowledge. And that desire
this person has experience. He has experience. No, he's experiencing.
Aware, Guruji, that he is not aware of it.
Aware of it. No. Any idea, Hariji? See, there is no evolution or devolution possible in the dream because, okay, last chance to Hariji. You want to say something, sir?
No, I might be completely wrong, but you could only evolve or devolve when you use the intellect. And I don't think there is any intellect in a dream.
There is no intellect in the dream. There is no self-effort in the dream. There is no conscious effort. Gayatrima, the word conscious use panningla. There is no conscious effort, there is no self-effort, there is no intellect, there is no purushartha in the dream. Therefore, you can't advance your progression, nor can you use your effort to devolve also. None of it happens in the dream. So it's just a vent, just a pressure release, that's all. But that doesn't get rid of the desire or the proportion of the mind which has projected the dream. So that 1% of the waker's mind remains intact as it is. It doesn't change, therefore it is imperishable. And the 99% rest of the mind is Uttama Purusha, is the total mind, is a vast mind which you do not know what it is. Do you know yourself entirely? You do not know what your entire mind is. That is beyond the known, which is the dream, the unknown, which is the 1% of the mind. The waker's mind is way beyond it. I will come back with 2 more examples. I'll explain it again to cement the understanding, and we'll come back to the second and third interpretation of the very same verse. All right, we'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.